This video is called Congratulate Yourself Regularly and how it will have an internal impact and shift on you internally. So, by shifting internally to, or going into a state of meditation and having a visualization of someone congratulating you, this could be a significant other, but having a 5 to 10 second cutscene as a memory of someone significant to you congratulating you, you are essentially, from that point on, once you write it down and clearly know what it is that you desire or have a goal towards, you then identify it as that version of yourself once you declare I am. So once you declare I am, the subconscious obeys. So therefore, the manifestation's already taken place. So because of this, you then shift internally and don't become emotionally dependent on seeing your reality change. So because you have this visualization and you're not operating from the version of yourself that's been congratulated, as the new version of yourself, you're used to getting congratulated. Therefore, you'll get congratulated regularly because on the frequency of winning, or on this new frequency, this new awareness, this new version of yourself, the new frequency which is better, it's a more positive frequency. So therefore it will attract you feeling congratulated, accomplished, cherished, all them things. And because that's how you feel internally, not being emotionally dependent on seeing your reality change, but you feel it internally. Once you then become used to this, and it's of no importance, it will then therefore keep happening because it's of no importance. So because it's of no importance and you're used to it, and you know that everything you have in abundance, it will keep happening and you'll keep being congratulated. And as within, as without. So because you're good with or without it, and there's no importance to it, it will keep happening. And because it keeps happening, you therefore shift entirely to that version of yourself, because you're constantly being congratulated. So the first few times might feel a bit more emotionally intense in a positive way, but once it keeps happening to the person or it keeps happening to you, you'll then become used to this, and because it'll be a regular occurrence, you'll no longer think about it. Because you no longer think about it, there's no importance as in, as without. You then become good with or without it, because internally you already knew, and internally you already shifted to a version of that's being congratulated. So therefore, when it is then happening in reality, it won't faze you, because internally you already knew you was doing that. You already knew you was congratulated. You already knew you was accomplished before you saw it. You was your own self-validation. And that's why congratulating yourself regularly speeds up the process, because where you're congratulating yourself regularly and shifting internally to a version of yourself that's accomplished and with gratitude achieving your accomplishments, essentially the manifestation takes place quicker because you're being congratulated and you have gratitude consistently. And consistency builds essentially integrity and momentum, and that momentum creates a knock-on effect of the thing essentially repeatedly happening. Like I said, if you're to constantly congratulate yourself, after a while you'll just be used to it. And that's the same thing with the consistency. So because you're operating from the new version of yourself, consciously, internally, consistently, that's the new cause which you consciously are. doing every action consciously as that version of yourself internally creates a new result. The new result is the new effect. So you shifting internally is the cause, which therefore creates a new result, which is a new effect. So doing this, congratulating yourself regularly will, because it's a new cause, you're internally congratulated. You already know that internally. You then shift the cause. So then the effect now is you're always congratulated because internally you already know that. So therefore reality now has to catch up to you and you'll then continuously experience that. And the more emotionally intense you can feel to the visualization that you had, that also keeps it more memorable to your subconscious, because the subconscious language is emotion. So the more intensely the emotion is felt, the more the subconscious remembers it. So you can shift a negative feeling or intense experience just as quickly to a positive one by getting in a state of relaxation, meditation, and then visualizing a new memory of something positively happening intensely, because the brain can't separate the truth from a lie. So if you tell it something else happened and you visualize that and you emotionally intensely feel that, the brain will then start to feel like that is real, and that will now become real from that moment onwards. So congratulating yourself regularly, the feeling of being congratulated, the new version of you will then get used to, and because you're getting used to it, it creates that momentum effect of integrity where you're being constantly congratulated. But it all starts internally, so you have to shift internally first, and once you do then shift to that version of yourself internally, you can't be emotionally dependent on seeing your reality change. So even if you think there's signs or something gives you a hint or whatever, these things are only significant if you declare them as significant to your subconscious or that version of yourself. If you don't, then synchronicities don't mean nothing unless you give them meaning. Same way, a piece of paper is blank until you write on it. Until you write on it, it's just any piece of paper. When you write on it, then the paper has a specific meaning tied to it because you wrote a specific thing on it. So it's the same with manifestation. Once you make a specific manifestation and mostly intensely visualize something and have the visualization, you then internally shift to knowing now that you're that version of yourself. And because you're then that version of yourself internally, you self-validate yourself consciously before doing all actions and tell yourself you're that version of yourself. By then building momentum and congratulating yourself regularly, you will then become used to this, creating a knock-on effect of momentum, and it all starts internally by congratulating yourself consistently, because the more you're able to congratulate yourself, the more you'll notice your achievements and your wins and your success. And all it starts with little wins or little successes, which then the same with the congratulating yourself consistently, the wins will also pick up consistently, because the more you're congratulating yourself and you're used to that, the more you'll also be used to winning, because you're only going to be congratulating yourself for doing better things, which means therefore you're winning. So, but it starts with shifting internally to being congratulated, and that's what the key concept of manifestation is. You have to self-validate yourself, and even when what's going on in reality doesn't match, it doesn't matter. You can't be knocked off center because, you know, internally you're that version of yourself. So if you're already that version of yourself, what's going on in reality doesn't matter, because internally internally, you already self-validated yourself. So because you've already self-validated yourself, regardless of what's going on in reality, you know you're that version of yourself and you're already accomplished. So this is congratulating yourself really and the effect of it.